Hello, and welcome to the Berkeley Master of Development Practice Admissions Informational Session. My name is Lisa Robinson, and I'm the Director of Career and Student Services here at the Berkeley MDP, and I'm thrilled that you are considering our program. During our session today, I will walk you through a number of different conceptual components of our program. We'll talk about the curriculum, we'll talk about how to customize your program, we'll talk a little bit about UC Berkeley and the larger research institution that we work within, as well as things like admissions, financial aid, costs, diversity, and other important aspects of the student experience here at UC Berkeley. So, who are we? Well, we believe strongly that the diversity of lived experiences of our students provide a really compelling and insightful component to the classroom. We believe that these profound and insightful experiences that could take the form of work experience, volunteer experience, lived experiences, provide a very unique situation and a classroom experience. And so we rely on the ability for our students to learn from each other through peer learning and sharing. As of July 1st this year, we recently moved from the Rausser College of Natural Resources to the Goldman School of Public Policy. We still maintain a wonderful relationship with the Goldman School, as well as the Rausser College of Natural Resources, the Haas School of Business, the School of Information, and many, many other schools on the UC Berkeley campus. We are very lucky that our interdisciplinary program allows our students to take courses from a wide variety of different disciplines and areas, but we're thrilled to be a part of this new Goldman School of Public Policy as an affiliated program partner. This will provide our students with more access to career and alumni networks. We're thrilled to be a new member of this school. So who are we? Well, we currently have 59 students in two cohorts. We have about 60% female, 30% male, and 3% gender non-binary. Currently, we have 60% of our students are international. This is higher than in previous years. I believe the pandemic might have had something to do with that. We usually have about 50% international students and 50% United States citizens and permanent residents, but we do have a slightly different composite combination this year. We also do have roughly 22% of our students are California resident when they are admitted to the university, and 18% of out of state. And many of the out of state students are able to get California residency in their second year of the program, which is a very wonderful benefit added for our domestic US students. And then in terms of not only underrepresented minorities, but our cohorts in general, average age is around 25 years. The range is usually, average ranges between 23 and 26, but we do have some folks here that are in their early 30s and in their early 20s. So certainly outside of that average. And then our average years of work experience is around 3.76. Again, this number varies every year, and this experience can include both volunteer and in industry work experience, but we usually find that most people do come in with a few years of experience under their belt. So who are we? Well, the Berkeley MDP attracts engaged students that are interested in pursuing both a multi and interdisciplinary approach to their studies. We designed this program to meet the complex needs and challenges of sustainable economic development, and we view our program as iterative, and we view components of our program as iterative. We want this program to work with development and development trends while also adhering to the actual core courses and the academic structure that has been approved by the Academic Senate at the University of California, Berkeley. So what does this mean? Well, it means that we have a strong cohort-based learning philosophy. Our cohorts, as I said, roughly 30 to 35 people in each of the two cohorts every year. And these folks are chosen from a highly selective admissions process. We want diverse people and diverse perspectives in our cohorts, especially now that we're a part of Goldman School, as the Goldman School is considering, really refining its international development and international policy angles. Because of the diversity of our lived experiences, we find that the MDP students that again come from so many different areas, not just policy, but sciences, engineering, data, humanities, all of these people provide ample opportunities for peer learning within the cohort. So let's talk about what that means. Over the next few slides, I'll talk about curriculum, the practicum experience, and then individual specialization cost, and then you'll meet the other colleagues that help put this program together and make it run. So here we can see the curriculum for our program. The MDP program is a total of 50 units, including 10 core classes and a weekly interactive seminar. The first year of the program is designed to tackle a lot of the core and broad foundational skills and knowledge that is required for any development practitioner through interdisciplinary study. In this first year, students complete courses in economics, decision-making, science, leadership, public health, management, and policy. And in the second year of the program, they can focus and specialize in a specific area. Now, this doesn't mean that you can't take any elective courses in the first year, but because the first year of this program is structured to meet the needs and skills, to help the students have the skill sets they need in order to do well in the practicum, which exists in the summer after the first year, it means that there's very little time on the plate to add additional electives in that first year. You certainly can do that, and our students do that all the time. But it is important to think through how to make sure that you have all of the skills and experience in the first year to get you prepared for the practicum. So every semester, students participate in this interactive seminar with cohort mates. These seminars feature guest speakers. They have career panels, student-led discussions, workshops, and leadership building activities. At the end of the program, students are welcome to take either a supervised project work in the form of a capstone final project with a client, or they can do a master's thesis. Either of those two options are ways to complete the degree at the end, and these are the most important milestones that can help pivot you into the career that you're looking at going forward. We'll talk more about that in a few slides, so stay with me, bear with me. So my MDP is referring to this notion of being able to customize the MDP. So beyond the core classes, how can I focus in on something like food systems or security, cybersecurity, or poverty, water and sanitation, things like that. But more specifically, how can I focus my skills, knowledge, and time at Berkeley in a way that will be meaningful for me when I graduate? And the way to do that is through taking elective courses in some of these areas. Some of these areas do provide a graduate certificate, which is another way for students to earn additional credentials during their time here at Berkeley. Certificates include things like GIS, Information Systems for Technology and Development, or ICT4D. We have applied data science classes that are becoming more popular, so that certificate is becoming more popular with our students, as well as just general other certificates across campus. We have some in global urban humanities. There's a number of them. So just think of UC Berkeley as like a big candy store. And you're here in this interdisciplinary program to kind of figure out how best to give you the skills, knowledge, and our experience that you need in order to do well in your career, but also providing you ample opportunities to take courses in things that are of particular interest to you. So you can do this through customizing the MDP, but there are no very formal specific concentrations in this area outside of the certificates. All right, so the practicum is completed in the summer between the first and second degree of the program, or first and second year of the program. It's typically 8 to 10 weeks in length, and it's important to think about this not as an internship where students apply for a specific opportunity through a company, but rather the spirit behind this opportunity is for you to get a really clear sense of what you want to do within 8 to 10 weeks of a summer opportunity, and how you might be able to fit that within your larger career trajectory. So for example, a student might be really interested in focusing on random control trials in Myanmar, focusing on water and sanitation, and they've been interested in a couple of organizations that are doing that work. So they might reach out to those organizations and say, hey, I have some interest and experience in RCTs. I'm interested in doing some work here. And I'm really interested in the work that you're doing through this organization. Can you tell me, do you have anything, any problem, any challenge, any data that you need worked on for 8 to 10 weeks over the summer? And I'm happy to provide that for you. Some of our students do get salaries or stipends or other ways to accommodate these practical experiences. And others decide not to do that, not to have that conversation, but it is something that students can do. And we do provide additional funding in the form of travel grants to help students get what they need out of the practicum. So again, when you think of the practicum, think of this 8 to 10 week quasi-consultancy, very, very highly driven and co-created by the student. It's student initiated and co-created with a client. And it's an opportunity for you to get a really clear sense of, okay, where am I thinking I might go after this degree? How can I get practical on the job in the field experiences to be able to equip me for that going forward? And how might I be able to dovetail that to exist within the first 2 years of my program? And I, as the Director of Career and Student Services, our Program Director, George Scharfenberger, and our other affiliated faculty and instructional staff are designed to help you with that process. So again, this is an iterative process, but it is something that our students do every year to various degrees of enjoyment and success. But it all comes down to what you want and what you need and how committed are you to finding and creating that opportunity for yourself. We give you the tools and resources to do that, but it's really important to understand that this is a program that's largely designed to help you practically. And so you'll need to be thinking a lot of times throughout this entire program about how this program can best help you with that. So this is just a random photograph from our poster sessions at the end of the practicum every summer. In the early fall, we have a practicum poster session where our students essentially have posters available and present on their practicums. And this is just a sample of one of them from a few years ago. So it's one of the many one of the few events that we have where our students can showcase what they do over the practicum. So who are we? Well, my name, as you know, is Lisa Robinson. I'm Director of Career and Student Services. I work closely with Chris Young and George Scharfenberger. Chris does so much in our program, everything from HR and technology and everything in between, finance, to being just a fantastic program partner, colleague. And George Scharfenberger is our program director. He hails from like 40 years of experience in various development practice and development fields, and he is one of the brainchilds behind this program altogether, along with David Zilberman, our faculty director. So we have a small but mighty staff, but we're very determined to support our budding development practitioners in their continued graduate studies. So why Berkeley? Well, I mean, it's Berkeley. The UC Berkeley is one of the top public institutions, especially for research in the United States and probably the world. We're geographically situated close to Silicon Valley, so we have a lot of tech entrepreneurship and a lot of very important climate science and climate advocacy work that's happening, not just on our campus, but in the San Francisco Bay Area. Not only that, but we are a large university, so we have football games and marching bands and taiko drumming and just everything. We have a lot. We don't have everything, but we have a lot. And so our students do find a wide community of people to join when they come on campus. The photo of the circular building here is Wellman Hall, which is our current residence. We're renting it from the Rausser College of Natural Resources for a few more years, and we're just so happy that they were able to extend this opportunity for us to remain in this space for the time being as we continue to move into the Goldman space. Yet another example of how fantastic Rausser College of Natural Resources has been for us. So very happy about that. Okay, so over the next few slides, I will walk you through admissions, requirements, application tips, financial aid, costs, you name it. So here we go. For admissions and financial aid, note that our application deadline is January 6th, 2022. So you will have some extra time after a lot of the December applications to finalize that application, but do note that this is a hard and fast application deadline. I heard from some of my first year students that many of them submitted right before the deadline. So you can be a last person to apply and also be admitted, apparently. Successful applications include a bachelor's degree or an equivalent. We're looking for someone with a scholarly average of approximately 3.0 or higher on a 4.0 scale. International students might not know specifically how their GPAs rank, and that's okay. You don't have to include that on your application if you are an international student. We are looking for people with work experience or volunteer experience, things that really show us the work that you've done in the field, in development, and as well as the things you haven't done but are interested in exploring more. We'll talk about that as it relates to the statements in a second. We also do have either official GRE scores for people that decide to take the GRE, but we do suggest a quantitative resume if you decide not to do the GRE. Now, before you ask the question, I often get the question of, well, is this really going to hurt me if I don't do the GRE? And I can't answer that. I can't answer that specifically. What I can say is that UC Berkeley is going towards a very holistic model of graduate admissions, and they have been discussing this holistic model with faculty for some time, trying to move away from these standardized tests like the GRE and the GMAT and all of these exams to go for a more comprehensive and holistic model. Now, the Berkeley MDP has always had a holistic model, and the GRE has really helped us get a sense of how you will be successful in our program, especially quantitatively. So here's what I suggest. If you decide not to take the GRE, please do plan to add an extra sheet to your resume that's a quantitative resume, and it gives us a sense of who you are and what you've done quantitatively to help us get a sense of your skills, experience, background, and success in things like math, stats, and economics. Sorry, statistics and economics. So again, please make sure to have that clearly articulated in your application, and then we won't have to worry about the information that normally would be presented by the GRE. You'll want to include a resume or CV, 3 letters of recommendation. I often get people ask me, well, it's been a long time since I've been in school. Do you need to have an academic recommendation? And the answer really is yes. We do need someone that can attest to your ability to succeed in this graduate program. So oftentimes that might be someone from undergrad, even though it's been a few years since you last spoke to them. But oftentimes it can also be someone that just knows you academically. We would like at least one letter from someone affiliated with your undergrad or some sort of scholastic experience that you've had. But do make sure that your recommenders are able to articulate your ability to succeed here in this program, and any more information about who you are and what you bring to the table as a person. You'll also need to include your personal history statement and statement of purpose. Information on those statements can be found both on our website as well as the graduate admissions website. Do know that generally speaking, the statement of purpose is talking about, why Berkeley, why now, why this program, like answering these big questions about, why specifically this program at this time in your life makes sense to you. People might talk about the different faculty they have, faculty interests or research interests that UC Berkeley has in this statement of purpose, but make sure it's concise, clear, and gives us a really clear sense of why you want to come here and do whatever you want to do. You will also be writing a statement of purpose, which will be essentially a personal history statement. I already talked about the statement of purpose. You will also be talking about your personal history. Who are you? What is your lived experience? Why is this important? How does it inform who you are as a development practitioner and what you want to do in the field? So this is also an important, valuable piece of information that gets us a sense of who you are so that we can evaluate you holistically for admissions. International students, you may be required to take a TOEFL or IELTS exam to prove that you have English language proficiency. Note that some students are exempted, or applicants are exempted from TOEFL or IELTS if you are a citizen or a permanent resident of a country where English is the official language, especially if you've received it in your undergraduate or postgraduate degree from a college or university in which English is the language of instruction. So much text there, so much data. Go to the graduate admissions website for UC Berkeley and get a really clear sense of the TOEFL exemption requirements first before reaching out to my office to get a sense of whether or not you have to take the TOEFL or IELTS. If you still have questions, please feel free to reach out. But note that these are this is an important kind of piece of the admissions puzzle, and it's important that we get that from you if it's required. So I talked about half of the slide, admissions. Financial aid also exists for our students. Graduate student instructor and graduate student researcher positions can be available. Most of our students do instructor positions because it's valuable teaching experience, but a number of our students have been able to secure researcher positions as well. It can be a little bit more difficult to find the researcher positions, but they are available as well. So with either a GSI, graduate student instructor, or a TA, or graduate student researcher, or RA positions, you get a salary plus a fee remission, depending on how much your appointment is. Your work will be 10 to 20 hours per week, and they are usually semester-based appointments. So you can potentially teach or research for a specific class or center in one semester and either continue with it or do something else in the next semester, depending on your own interests. In addition to these academic student employee, positions, there are Berkeley fellowships like the MDP fellowships, Graduate Opportunity Fellowship, which is for, domestic U.S. students that are from underrepresented minority populations. We have extramural fellowships in the form of Wrangell, Pickering, and Payne. If you're interested in the State Department or USAID after working for or learning from the MDP, check out those opportunities as well, especially if you're a U.S. citizen or permanent resident. And then, of course, note that there are other employment opportunities as well on campus, to include things like readers or tutors, which are like hourly academic appointments that can be spread out through the entire semester. The University of California at Berkeley also has campus fellowships as well, so you're welcome to look at the Berkeley Graduate Division Fellowship website for information on that, though a lot of those fellowships are geared more for PhD students, so I don't want you to think that that there's nothing available for you there. I just want to make sure that you're aware that a lot of it is PhD students. Additionally, for international students in particular, there are some external fellowship opportunities that our students do participate in to help subsidize their education or fully fund it. Those include the Joint Japan World Bank Graduate Students Scholarship Program. No students, I messed that up. It's right in front of me and I misread it. This World Bank scholarship provides a lot of funding and support for our graduate students, as well as support in terms of helping them with career placement going forward in the form of networking and things like that. The MasterCard Scholars Program operates very similarly. This one is for students from various sub-Saharan African countries. The World Bank Fellowship has also a list of developing nations, so you'll want to take a look at that if you are interested in the World Bank or MasterCard. Make sure that you are from a country that's eligible. And then, of course, Fulbright is a very popular fellowship opportunity that a number of our students are on. It's important, too, to note that some local governments have scholarship and funding opportunities available, and some of our international students are also taking advantage of those as well. So check with your local government and local organizations to see what might also exist for you as well. Okay, so what do our students do? Well, everything. Much like we look for diverse applicants, we have very diverse alumni. The information in the next two slides is based on our most recent alumni and career survey data, and we have just sent out this survey again, so this information will be changing in the next 2 months or so as I get the newest data. But from our last career and alumni survey data, our students have job titles that come from a wide variety of different places. We've got people that are interested in doing foreign service in either the US government or other sort of comparable positions. We've got a lot of project and policy managers. We've got some climate engineers. We've got impact analysis, impact investment analysis or analysts, everything really. It's just all over the globe. We have people that are working in multilateral orgs all the way to from them to grassroots and in the field doing work locally. It's important to know that our program is a program that's on domestic sustainable economic development as well as international. So you don't have to be an internationally minded in order to be focusing and benefiting from this program. So a lot of our students do go on to state and local governments here in the United States as well. And it's just all across the board in terms of, direction, interests, everything. It's hard to summarize, but I try anyway. So additionally, the job sectors, again, from all MDP alumni include like 40%-ish are a nonprofit. Private is about 26%, public is 27%, and a few folks have gone on to do PhDs after the MDP as well. This is an interest that I am seeing increase throughout time. So it's possible that we might have more of this kind of research component to development practice in the future. And I view my position as someone that helps you springboard into whatever it is next for you, which it could be a PhD program, or it could be many of the other ways to do that. The annual first salary of our MDPers has, based on the last survey, was $82,500 US. It's up from the average salary across all of the cohorts by $10,000. So that's a great promising sign. And do note that this class of 2020 graduated in May of 2020 at the kind of the height of pre-vaccine pandemic. Well, the height of anyway, you understand what I'm saying. So these numbers are all going to be kind of wonky because of the pandemic. So take it with a grain of salt, but it does give you a sense of, how our students are doing. Most of them do find a job in their intended field after graduation. Most of them are hired within 6 months of graduation, even in a pandemic. Those are great data points. Hopefully these will continue to be as solid now that we're kind of emerging into this new transitional period of continuing pandemic. So basically, this is the data that can hopefully help you get a sense of who we are. But again, like our student body, our applicant body, and our alumni body are so diverse that it's really hard to talk about. And we love that. It makes our program strong. It makes my work really rewarding because I get to learn a lot from my students. And it's a really important part of our program. So with that, I will leave you to your day. You're welcome to ask any questions that you might have about this process. You'll see our info/mdp@berkeley.edu email address will be your primary contact. But certainly if you have additional questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. We are here to help you with this process. Again, application deadline is due January 6th, 2022, and I hope to see you all apply. All right, take care and be well and have a great rest of your day.